Welcome, and today we're going to be talking about section 4-2, slope and direct variation. Let's get started. So direct variation is an equation of the form y equals kx, where k is not equal to 0 and k is the constant of variation. Essentially, k is just a fancy word for slope in these situations. So we have to be in y equals kx form for this to be for it to be considered the constant of variation. And since 0, 0 is a solution of y equals kx, because k times 0 would be 0, and that would equal 0. So the graph of y equals kx will always pass through the origin. So let's go through a couple examples. So we're going to name the constant of variation for each equation and then find the slope. So remember, the slope is the same thing as constant of variation. So our slope is just rise over run, as we talked about in the past. So we count our rise, so from one point to another, 1, 2, 3, and then over 1. So our slope, m, is equal to 3 over 1, and that would mean k is also equal to 3 over 1. So, because here's that 3, so constant variation is the 3, and then our slope is 3. So here, we see y equals negative 2x, so our k is equal to negative 2, and then we follow the same thing. Our slope, we count rise down 1, 2, so negative 2 over 1. So our m is also equal to negative 2 over 1, or negative 2. So that's showing that slope and constant variation are the same thing. So let's graph a couple. So graph each equation. Y equals 4x. So essentially, remember, our k is our slope. K is slope, the constant variation is slope, so we start at our 0, 0, and we go, since it's 4, up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, over 1, and draw our line. And there is our line of constant of variation. Remember, it will always go through the origin if it is a direct variation equation. Next one, y equals negative 1/3 x. So once again, start at 0, 0, the origin, and count your slope, down 1 over 3, and there is your slope. So there is your equation. All right, so now, just a quick little side. A family of graphs are graphs and equations of graphs, I know it's a lot, that have at least one characteristic in common. So in this case, our characteristic is the x. That's y and x. They're the same. Okay, so that's what they have in common. So they're a family graph. So direct variation equations are in the form y equals kx. The graph of y equals kx always passes with the origin. The slope is positive if k is greater than 0, and the slope is negative if k is less than 0. Just like a normal slope, what we talked about in our last lesson. So let's look at using some information to solve for a slope direct variation equation. So first, suppose y varies directly with x and y equals 28 and when x equals 7. So write a direct variation equation that relates x and y. So we normally start with y equals kx, but we don't know the k in this situation. But we do know x and y. Here's y, here's x. So we're going to plug those in. So we get 28 equals k times 7. And now we're just going to solve for k. Divide by 7 on both sides. And so we get 4 is equal to k. So our new equation is actually y equals 4x. That's our direct variation equation. Now we're going to use that to finish part B. Use the direct variation equation to find x when y is equal to 52. So now I'm given a different 52. So if 52 is y, I just plug that in, so I get 52 equals 4x. And like I said, we want to find what x is. So to solve, we simply divide by 4 on both sides. So we end up with 13 is equal to x. And there you have it. Let's do another one. Same thing. Suppose y varies directly as x and y equals 6 when x equals negative 18. So write a direct variation equation that relates x and y, and then use that to find y when x equals negative 2. So once again, we start off with y equals kx. Now we're just going to substitute what we know in. So we get 6 equals k times negative 18. And from here, just do some algebra, solve, divide by negative 18. So 6 divided by negative 18, that just leaves us with negative 1/3 is equal to k. So my equation is y equals negative 1/3 x. So now I'm going to use that equation to substitute in, but now they give me x in this case, so I just say y equals negative 1/3 times negative 2. And there is just some simple arithmetic. So y would be equal to negative times negative is positive, and 1/3 times 2 is just 2/3. So my answer, when x equals negative 2, y is equal to 2/3. And that's direct variation and slope.